Alright, so we've had a lot of emails sent in with news stories, so I am going to be going through and reading them, so sit back and have a watch. And if you want to give me your story, stay around to the video at the end and I'll give you the details of where you can send it into. Alright, so this first story is sent in by Tyler. So pretty much me and a few mates were driving around one night, talking over the walkie-talkies like usual. One of them says, "Let's go down to Kapunda graveyard and try find the oldest grave." Well, I thought that'd be a good little drive, because we lived about 50 minutes out from the area. When we got there, we were walking around for about 20 minutes when we came across a broken grave. We stood there just thinking, what type of person would you have to be to break a headstone? Then we got a cold shiver up our spines. We thought nothing of it at first, but out of the corner of my eye, I kept seeing something crawling around the trees. Naturally, I got creeped out, so I said maybe it's time to go. As soon as we got back in the cars, they wouldn't start. Then I smelt blood coming from my back seat. And I swear when I say this, I seen a thing in my rearview mirror with half its skin ripped off its face. I freaked out, ran to my mate's car and said there's something in my car. When we went back to look, there was nothing there, just the smell of metallic blood. That's you fuck around and you find out. And you found out. Don't be messing around with people's grave sites, that's for sure, man. But cheers for sending in that story. That's a good one. I appreciate it. Thanks, Tyler. Alright, so we've got another one in, sent in by Jacob. We weren't alone in that bush, and multiple of them seen it. I'm in a small country town just north of Albany, Western Australia. Me and 4 of my mates were out all night, about 10 to 11 p.m. And everything was going great, and we were having a good time. At some point, we started walking over to this small bit of bushland with a creek on it, right next to the train tracks. As soon as we stepped off the road to get into the small alleyway that takes you to the bush, everything got super quiet and eerie. Me and my mates all noticed it, but decided to head on as we wanted to catch some julgies. So julgies are just like a yabby, just so you know. Some of my mates started saying they felt like they were being watched. I didn't feel it yet, so I thought they were just being paranoid. There were lots of clouds and barely a moon, and with the minimal amount of street lights, it made it a pretty dark night. As we were walking, I started to feel like I was being watched too. I looked around and seen this thing that looked to be about 10 meters tall. I blinked and it was gone again. I told my mates, but they thought I was just being paranoid as well. As soon as we got closer to the creek, everything got even more quiet and the air got really heavy with tension. Almost like when your missus is mad at you, but won't tell you why. I seen a few more of those tall things, but they were all gone after I either looked away or blinked. We decided to head home about 10 minutes later, and on the way home we seen this black, almost like a mist or a shadow, of definitely a person walking. It looked quite tall, maybe 7 to 8 feet at the local skate park. The skate park is in the middle of the field, so you would see them leave on either side. We walked up to check it out, and there was nobody there at all. Multiple of us seen it, so I don't think it was me being crazy. After that, we headed home quickly as we were feeling quite scared at that point. As we were going home, the night cleared up and became a bit brighter, so we could see without the flashlights. We had to pass through an overgrown vacant block. We seen some human-like figures scurrying through the long grass in the moonlight, but when we turned our flashlights on, there was nothing. We heard footsteps beside us the whole way through that grass field. We would stop walking, and there would be a small delay before the other footsteps stopped. Safe to say we got home quickly and went to bed. The next morning, everything went back to normal. P.S. The really tall things, the 10-meter guys, didn't feel scary, almost peaceful, but the human-like figures filled us all with immense dread. It's a good story, yeah, especially if multiple of you fellas are saying it, like what is it, you know what I mean? So you can only ask that question. Thanks for sending that in, Jacob. That's a good story. Cheers, bro. Alright, so we've got this next story and it's sent in anonymously. Something followed her across the paddock in Moree, and it was about 7 to 8 feet tall, wearing a black top hat. This happened to my auntie. One time in Moree, my auntie was coming back from a party. She had a can of Jim Beam in her hand. She was walking home and she had to walk through a paddock to get there. As she started walking through a paddock, she felt something wasn't right, like something was following her. So she picked up her pace and walked faster. As she was walking, she turned around and noticed a tall man, about 7 to 8 feet tall, wearing a black top hat. She walked faster, looked back, and noticed him walking faster too. About 5 to 10 seconds later, she started sprinting. As she was running, she remembered an old auntie who lives on the corner of the end of the paddock, and ran to the old auntie's place and started banging on the door. She looked back to see if the thing was following her, but it had stopped and was watching her from behind the streetlight. After a few minutes of knocking, the old auntie came out. She saw the tall man and brought out a Bible. The tall man left. My auntie stayed at her place for the night. You know what? I'll be staying at that place too. Fuck that. I wouldn't be going anywhere. I'll be like, I'm leaving this house in the morning when it's daylight and I can see everything. Bugger that, bro. That's scary as shit. Especially with the other person seeing it and getting the Bible and stuff, and then it just leaves. Like, Man, that's some real eerie shit, eh? Nah, good story. Cheers for sending that in. Alright, so we got this next email sent in by Ethan and Renee. They were stranded in the dark near Laverton, and something lit the road for them. One day when I was a little fella, me, my uncle and my auntie and my 3 big brothers went out hunting in Laverton, Western Australia. We drove all afternoon and caught one big kangaroo. By that time, the sun was going down. My uncle Flynn said time for us to go. So we left the area we were hunting. Then we came up to this small dirt road, and there was a ditch in the middle of the road full of water. It didn't seem that deep. My uncle drove through it, but as the 2 front tyres came out of the water, the back tyres got caught in the mud, and the car slid back into the ditch. We tried for about an hour to get it out, but we couldn't. So then my uncle and auntie said we're gonna have to walk. We got ready for the walk, we grabbed the guns, left the car and the kangaroo, and started walking. We were about 2 or 3 hours out of Laverton town. We walked for a while. It was dark at this time. So dark, we almost couldn't see where we were walking. So my uncle said I'll fire around to see if anyone can hear us, but nothing. A little while later, I was holding my auntie's hand, walking and scared. Then my auntie tripped on what I think was a rock or a tree root. I started helping carry my auntie. As I looked at her, she started praying to God and her mum, my nana. After my brothers and uncle helped her up, we looked in front of us, and there was some sort of glow lights on both sides of the road, like someone had placed them there. My uncle walked up to it and touched the glowing slime with the barrel of his gun. We were thinking, how did that get out here? We don't know, but we followed it. As we got to the end of it, it went dark, and then we seen a hill. As we walked up to the top, we could see the town. We were happy. My uncle fired off a round. Within 5 to 10 minutes, we seen a car approaching. It was a local family member. She said we've been looking for yous all night. We got in the car thanking them, thanking God, crying, laughing, and just so happy to see home and know that we got there safe. That was over 20 years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Man, that's a good story. Yeah, I like that. Especially with your auntie, you know. You said she started to pray, and then as she prayed, you got those lights pop up. I don't know, man, like, sometimes in life, there can just be these weird occurrences and things that can just blow your mind, and you just think, how's that possible? Like, good story, eh? I'm glad everyone was safe in the end. You just got home safely, you know? So, yeah. No, thanks for sending that in. That's a really good story. Alright, so we got this next email sent in by Michael. The window is locked and something still opened it. I'm from Tamworth, and I remember at one time me and all my cousins were staying at my auntie's. This place always had something freaky going on, from waking up to a little girl at your feet to seeing shadows moving throughout the night. Anyway, my auntie and uncle took all the younger kids Christmas light looking. Shortly after they left, we all set up in the lounge room to go bed watching a movie. Next thing you know, something's banging on the window, like it's trying to pull it up and open it. It kept banging and shaking the lounge room window for roughly 2 minutes. Then we heard the back door open and shut. When my older cousin went to walk up and shut it, there was a hand opening and shutting the door. No body, just an arm and a hand, like someone was wearing a long sleeve and glove. Next to the back door, there's a bedroom. After about 30 seconds, we saw something move past the window at a speed that's impossible for any living creature to move. It went back to the lounge room window and opened it, even though it was locked. Then it stopped. You and all the cousins just must have been shitting you, so I was like, couldn't even imagine what you all were saying to each other in that situation. That's like one of them shared experiences though, you know, like you've all seen it. Like, what could it have been that caused that? Especially that hand, like if there's no body connector, like what the hell? Like, that's crazy, man. But nah, cheers for sending that story in, appreciate it. Alright, so the next story is sent in anonymously. They heard something behind them in Arnhem Land, and none of them went back there again. This was one random Friday night in 2024. Me and 3 of my friends decided to go hang out at the community outdoor basketball courts around 7 p.m. to about 9 p.m. We were all having a blast and all, when one of my friends suddenly started feeling very ill, straight out of the blue. That's when she said, can we go back home? So we all started walking back home. The walk was about 2 kilometers. As we were walking, the place started to feel very cold and eerie. Then I noticed a black figure walking behind us at a slow pace. It kind of sounded like it was speaking in language or chanting something. We all started walking very fast, almost running. The voice got louder and louder. There were 2 couples that noticed us and tried to stop us, but we didn't really stop to talk to them. We felt like we were still running. When we got home, we were all too stunned to speak about it. Till this day, I never go back there. The couple asked us about it later, but we didn't remember that clearly that night until 3 days later. If you can't make sense of what it is, of what you're seeing and that, like, and all of you are seeing it, and then that'd be scary as, so. Thanks for sending that in though. That's a good story, I appreciate it. Alright, so the next story we got sent in is sent in by Cody. It jumped out of the water at 2 a.m. and never came back up. Me and my mates from Clontarf stayed at Bustleton School campground. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, me and my two mates went for a walk along the beach. Everyone else was asleep. We found a crab and we were chasing each other around with it. Then my mate grabbed it and threw it into a bush. On our way back to the camp, we heard footsteps behind us and splashing in the water. We turned around and seen this black figure standing by the water. Then it jumped in. Me and my mates waited to see who it was. It never came back up. We sprinted back to the camp. All we could think about was that figure. The next morning, my mate woke up with scratches all over his back. After that, we decided to go home. Yeah, man, that's a good story, eh? Like all you fellas all seen the black figure and obviously took off. So yeah, wonder what it was. Interesting now that you said your mate got scratches all over his back too, so makes you think about things, eh, bro? Appreciate you sending that in, Cody. Alright, so the next story got sent in is from Kim. It growled at her and muck and booed an oval, and her auntie told her to run. There are many stories about Mucker's golf course, and this one is one of them that happened to me growing up. When I was younger, me and my auntie were sitting by the Mucker oval in the dark, watching the kids at the school disco. The oval borders the golf club up one end. While we were sitting there, I got a weird feeling in my stomach, so I looked towards the golf course, but I didn't see anything. After a few minutes, I heard a growl in the distance on my left side. I looked again, still didn't see anything, but got that feeling again, so I ignored it. Me and my auntie just kept sitting there. After about 5 minutes, I heard a second growl. This time it was closer, but I didn't look because I got that feeling again. I just sat there quietly with my auntie. After about 1 to 2 minutes, there was a louder growl. It was right in my left ear. Before I could turn or look or shout, my auntie grabbed my hand and told me to run. So we ran all the way back home non-stop. We didn't have a good sleep that night. We learned that night that the things at the golf course also come out to the oval when it's dark. Fuck, what's at the golf course there then, eh? What is it? That's crazy. It's obviously got a bit of a reputation, so yeah. It's pretty scary though, especially if you only seen something and told you to leg it. Wonder what the growl was too. Is it some animal or something? It's a good story. I appreciate you sending that in. Thank you. Alright, thanks for listening to the stories. If you want to send your own videos in, just send them to this email address. And if they're good enough, hey, we'll get them on the next video. Appreciate you watching and we'll see you then. Have a good one.